Step right up, let's take the dive. Crypto world is coming alive. From XRP to the blockchain beat. Join the crew where pioneers meet. Got builders, dreamers paving the way. Multi-chain vibes, we're here to stay. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Faces of crypto, stories we share. Early adopters, they're everywhere. From XRPL to the Web3 wave. Bold moves, only we're here to pave. Melissa and Simon, they light the way. Every week it's a crypto play. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Let's crypto dance. No advice, just a spark to ignite. Do your research, keep your vision tight. Community strong, we're building the way. Dip a toe show, here to stay. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. So take a chance, don't be shy. Crypto's calling, we're reaching the sky. Join the movement, come take a look. Web3's rising, the world's been shook. Ooh.
The world's been shook. Ooh. I'll say the world's been shook. How's everybody doing this evening? As you can see, I'm flying solo this evening. Simon is still working overtime, making that money. So you just got me tonight, but I do have a wonderful show in store for you guys. Thanks to the 7 of you who are in here so far. Please share this out. I'm sure more folks will be piling in. But before we go on with the show, I want to say hello to our friend William. Good evening, William. Thank you so much for coming to the Dip a Toe show. We also have, Conflict. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up if I'm saying that right. Because I was proud of myself the other night when I said it, and I was like, I think I said it correctly. We got our good friend Java chilling in the house. What's up, Java? Java is quite the dancer, for those of you who don't know, and he gave me and Kita the greatest time in Las Vegas. We had so much fun dancing with him and Crypto OG. It was so much fun. We've got IBD Cartel in the house. Welcome to the Dip a Toe show. Thank you for coming. And our good friend Sholo is here. We love you. He says this will be an amazing one because he loves TextRP. We do love TextRP. And I got the thumbs up, and that means that Melissa said it correctly. So let's go. Yeah, guys, I do want to say exciting news for Dip a Toe show. We flipped another number. We continue to grow. It's because of you guys, your love and support. We strive to bring like the best topics and guests on the Dip a Toe show. And this week we flipped another number. We're at 1,460, I think. So 1.46. It's quite an accomplishment. At the end of October will be the 3rd year anniversary for the Dip a Toe show. Slowly but surely, we're organically growing. And I always say, when we grow, you grow. So all of the people that watch the Dip a Toe show, you're learning, you're sending this out to your family and friends. And guys, there's a bunch of people that are going to start coming into this space. I don't know if you're giving it attention, but there's a lot going on in the world, and we are at the forefront. We are the early adopters. We are the educators in the digital asset space, and we do try to bring the best of the best on the Dip a Toe show to share their stories, why they're passionate about it, the things that they're building, best practices, all those types of things. So please share this out, share this with your family and friends, and put this in the back of your mind when they start asking you questions. Where are you going to send them? Send them to the Dip a Toe show. We have the best family community in the digital asset space, if I don't say so myself, or do say so myself, I suppose that should be. Oh, we got Texas Guns in the house, and of course, we have Coffee and Crypto with Stone, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every week on X Spaces. Let's go, Will and Mike from TextRP. Thanks for coming, Stone. Appreciate it. And of course, TextRP says hello, everyone. So guys, the whole point of this show is to give you guys information. And I don't know about you, but do you guys ever feel like all your messages are scattered everywhere? One friend's got a WhatsApp, another one's on Discord, someone's on Facebook, they're in the crypto group on Telegram, and all your important messages can get lost. Like I don't have time to look at all of my messages, and it gets really frustrating. And if you're in crypto, it's even messier. You try to chat privately without giving someone your private phone number or your email so that they can find out exactly who you are, that sort of thing. And messaging somebody that just has a wallet address can sometimes be challenging. So, right now, most of us, we're just juggling it all. But tonight, we're joined by Will and Mike from Xurge Digital Labs, and they're the creators of TextRP. They've been working on the next evolution of what they built with TextRP, and this is the first time they're going to talk about it publicly. They're going to share what they've done, some of the big changes that they've made. They've been building this to help us communicate with each other effectively, not have to have all these apps on your phone, so you can keep your messages all in one place, which is really awesome. So whether you're new to crypto or you're already in the XRP Ledger community or any other kind of digital asset space, stick around. We're going to talk about a simpler, more private communication that you actually own yourself. So, without further ado, I'm going to get Mike and Will and Mike in the house. Welcome to the Dip a Toe show. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
I'm fine, Melissa. Hello.
Doing good. Thanks, Melissa.
I appreciate you guys coming on. Now, for those of you who have watched the Dip a Toe show before, you might recognize these faces. I did have the pleasure of interviewing both of you. Will, I got to talk with you. You were one of my first live interviews at XRP Las Vegas, which was awesome. And of course, we've already had you on the Dip a Toe show before. And Mike, I had you on a crypto security panel. You did a really great job. If you guys have not caught that program, you need to go back and watch that. I personally think that was one of the best shows that we've had on the Dip a Toe show. That crypto security show. It even not just crypto in general, just in general, how to protect yourself navigating around. Because as we all know, there are so many scams that are out there, and they're just on high alert right now. They're coming after us from all different ways. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming back to the Dip a Toe show. And I would like, before, because I know some people already have seen you on the show, but I would like you guys to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, what your background is, before we actually start talking about what you've built. So we'll start first with you, Will, and then we'll go on to Mike. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Melissa. And it's a great order because Mike does come afterward, and does a lot to really level us up. But yeah, so we are now in our fifth year of operating our communications platform. So yeah, a little bit about myself. My background is in telecommunications and virtual simulations. I'm a retired Army veteran. Been doing telecommunications, I would say, for close to 30 years. Uh, Currently, I work for a defense contractor. I've worked for all the top defense contractors in the past 14 years. So I've got a lot of technical background in that sense of telecommunications. When I came into crypto, this was around, I would say 2018. I kind of just ate into the whole Bitcoin fever back then. Lost some money, as most people did, but you know, that did get me into that space where I started learning more about the technology itself. Sometime around 2021, when the bear market hit, that was when I decided that maybe rather than just being a holder and hoping that somebody would uh, come up with that killer use case that would onboard more people onto crypto, I decided to kind of have my hand at that. I looked at the XRPL specifically because there was, well, two reasons. Mainly, the first one being that the community around the XRPL tends to be pretty technical, but also very supportive. And so that was my main, you know, one of the main reasons. The second one being that for me to integrate my solutions um, with a blockchain, I found the XRPL to be one of the easier ones to onboard because I didn't have to learn a new language or anything that was too out of this world. It was very simple to understand. The documentation is very clear. And those that are building on it and building it are still very accessible. And you can reach out to those people who are building this infrastructure and get the help that you need and maybe some guidance along the way. So I started building TextRP as a way to have a real concrete use case for the XRPL, which is communications, but also to solve a personal problem that I was facing in crypto that you alluded to, Melissa, because it seems to be a common problem among most people in today's world. And that is, if you look at your phone right now, you have probably more than likely, I'm willing to bet money, that you have more than one messaging app on your phone. And that's the case with most people. You know, you have your standard text messaging, then you have your Instagrams, then you have your WhatsApp, your DMs on X, and so on and so forth. And then you start joining crypto communities, and some of them are on Telegram, some of them are on Discord, and even some of them may be on Keiko. And if you wonder what Keiko is, it's a common Korean messaging app. And so one of the things I noticed is that there's a lot of silos out there in communications. And we talk about silos, and we talk about bridging these silos. And so I did my research, and I did find that there was one particular protocol that I could use that was open source that I could use and integrate it, and you know, do a little bit of editing on this protocol and integrate it into the XRPL in a way that enables communications that is end-to-end encrypted, private, but because it's on the XRPL, it also lends to an anonymous and private identity within the chat environment. And this is something that Mike will dive into a little bit more. But this is around, I would say, the year 2023 is when I launched the beta version of TextRP. And then we just chugged along for a little bit, onboarded up until last year up to 5,300 wallets onto our
Oh, wow.
platform, which is very, I would say that's pretty successful.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we launched a launch pack NFT, which is a sort of a founding level way to support our project. and we can talk about those NFTs, later on, as well as the TXT token, which is the utility token of the TextRP ecosystem. And again, we're always with an eye towards maximum utility. So our NFTs have real use cases within the platform. Our TXT token has real utility within our platform and also for other merchandise that we can go into later on as well. But then right around 2025 is when I attended a space call hosted by Ripple. And I gave my little elevator pitch. They were spotlighting different projects. And it was during that time where Mike was listening in to the space, and he heard my pitch and reached out to me after that shortly. And we started having a conversation. He became very excited about what we were working on, and decided he wants to join up with us, which was a real blessing for the TextRP team. Since then, he's done tremendous work to not only lower our infrastructure costs, but to really also take TextRP to the next level in onboarding what we call the normies, but really just regular people. And so I'll let Mike take it over from here to give his perspective on things and his background.
Well,
Sure, man.
welcome, Mike. I definitely want to learn more about you. What's your background? Tell us all your dirty secrets, Mike.
Oh, sure. So I actually have a really funny story about how I got involved in crypto, because I, up until December 2024, I actually thought pretty much all crypto was just a scam and like pump and dumps and stuff, because it's all I heard about, right? Um, and I never learned anything about blockchain in school for computer science, which I don't know, maybe that was by design, who knows, right? So anyways, a friend of mine reached out to me December 2024 and said, hey, do you want to build something cool? And I didn't really know what he was talking about, but I was bored, so I said sure. And turned out he was launching tokens on the XRPL, and I had no idea, like nothing, like I had no idea anything about tokens or the XRPL or anything. I just was in this Telegram chat, right? And it's kind of like a fever dream, because I had no idea what this guy was talking about, and I just knew I was there to build something cool. It was going to be like an arcade where you pay with these tokens, right? And I was just like excited about building something fun. The next thing I know, this guy sends me like 51% of this token supply. And so I open up my wallet. Yes, it's a crazy story. I open up my wallet, and it said it was worth like 100,000 something XRP. And I was like,
Wait, what?
I was like, yeah, I don't have that much XRP. What's going on here? So I messaged my friend, and he said, yeah, that's your part of the pile. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, look at the Telegram. So I jump in the Telegram. The chat's completely bombed, like erased, right? And I have no idea what's going on. So the token, I don't even want to tell you guys the token, because
Yeah, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud.
I don't want to tell you guys what the token was. But basically, I kind of started digging into what exactly was going on there, right? Because I knew there was no way there was 100,000 XRP in my wallet for real. I was like, this is not real. So I started looking in, how does this market cap stuff work based on the liquidity of this token? And I come to find out, there was like maybe 8,000 XRP in the liquidity pool, but because he burned like 80% of the supply, it looked like it was worth so much, right? So I sent it all back to him. I was like, bro, I don't want to be a part of this game at all.
Yep, good for you.
And walked away immediately. And it was like literally in the same week that I went to that Ripple Community Day space, because like I just wanted to build real world things that people could use. I didn't want to be a part of some scheme, right? And so when Will was talking about this communication app that was privacy focused, I was like, this sounds like something I could be a part of and learn a lot and grow as a developer. And I have, and it's been amazing. So it's been great. I came on with TextRP. I'll tell you my background now. I've been like a software engineer for about 6 years now. Um, and so I've been working in enterprise software engineering for various companies. Right now, I work for a startup that's actually an Amazon Web Services partner. So I do a lot of like Silicon Valley type work. If you've ever seen that show, it's kind of funny. I feel like I'm like living inside of that TV show sometimes. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I love building and solving problems. And the XRPL is like the first blockchain that I've ever worked on. It's the only blockchain I've ever worked on. I haven't strayed to Ethereum, Solana, or any of those. Other than looking at some of the cross-chain stuff that we may do someday. But I just feel like my home here is the XRPL because it's just I don't know, you don't get as much of those rambunctious, degens
Yeah,
over
it
here, right?
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have that kind
Um,
of.
right. So I enjoy that part of it. But yeah, that's basically my background.
So I'm curious. So you said, so basically it was what you said, 2024.
December
Or
24 is when I came into XRP, and it was like February 25 that I joined TextRP.
oh, okay. So, but before that, when you first were just dipping your toe, you were anti-crypto, basically. You didn't
Yeah,
thought everything was a scam. You decide you want to build something because that's what you do. You're a builder. You meet
mhm,
somebody, they say, "Hey, I'm building this really cool thing." You get in there, you get roped in. You don't really realize what's going on, that there's any kind of monetary thing going on, and then the next thing you know, it's the big fat rug pull. It sounds like, and
basically.
this was your first experience, and now somebody could turn around and go, I don't want to have nothing to do with this space whatsoever. But obviously, God put you in the right place at the right time to be listening to that Ripple space and then hearing Will talk. Something
Exactly.
that has piqued my curiosity with Will's background in communication. One of the things that we keep hearing, if you've been an XRP person for any amount of time, you will hear the clips of Brad Garlinghouse saying, moving money as fast as we move messages, right? Why is it move so slow? And so that really struck a chord with me. Will, with you being in telecommunications, we're moving our voices around, and then of course that came into text messaging and the like. Was that something that stuck out to you as far as the XRP Ledger went? Hearing any kind of talk about that, or did you just see it as a foundation for you to build off of that you recognize because of your telecommunications experience?
Well, I do want to say that I do take the words of Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz kind of seriously whenever they start prognosticating about what should be done moving forward. So I do take a lot of the advice that he may give. He may not be aware that he's giving it to me, but he did when Brad Garlinghouse worked for Yahoo. He and a lot of people are aware of this. He wrote an essay of sorts called the Peanut Butter Manifesto. In the Peanut Butter Manifesto, he basically warned Yahoo against spreading themselves too thin when it comes to what they're chasing, what they're after, or the markets that they're trying to target. Which is why you may see that TextRP has, from the beginning and always, has been a communications platform. And we have resisted all the temptations to pivot to such things that may have distracted us in the last 5 years, like metaverse, AI, gaming. Like these things are very interesting when they come along, but we do stay focused in our task, which is to provide a communications platform that can, over time, actually accommodate those kinds of transactions, because going back to my telecommunications background, I do see, and a little bit of what Brad was saying. To me, a message is a transaction.
Right.
I am communicating something here with yourself and with the audience. It is a message. It may have value depending on those who are listening to it and how much value they, uh, put to my words. And thank you if you put any value into them. But the point being that when there's not much difference when you're transmitting a message and you're transmitting value. And so when I treat it as such, and when we here at TextRP HQ kind of look at it in that light, it makes our platform much easier to work with, because now we know that every event that goes through our platform is a form of value, whether it's sending a message or sending a payment or sending some kind of interaction with the blockchain. So we treat messages just like as if they were transactions. We give them the value, we give them that privacy and that encryption that we feel it deserves. And so, yeah, just to kind of wrap that up in a bow, we do see that there's a lot to go with when we stay focused on our communications solutions, because every transaction, if you think about it, every transaction starts with communication. All right.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a house, you contact a realtor, then you contact your mortgage broker, right? Nothing gets done without that communications. And so we're building a platform that facilitates that communication, but also the transactions that result from such a communication.
Mm. Anything to add to that, Mike?
No, I mean this is the idea, guy. I just bring it to life, uh,
Does
but I do like believe in it strongly. I'm more like Will is the vision guy, and I'm focused on, all right, how do I do this without compromising privacy along the way, right? So that's my main focus. I believe in a world that everybody's privacy, especially when you're dealing with these kind of communications, like you should have an expected amount of privacy, right? Like the EU has been really wild lately with their laws around the communication visibility that they've basically required now. And I don't know. I feel very strongly against that world. You know, um, we already now as Americans deal with like the flock cameras and stuff, and that's like a whole nother thing. But uh, just that world is if I can be a part of preventing any of that from happening, and communications that I feel are sovereign and private to me, like especially when they involve transactions as well. That's my main driver here.
I would say too, with both of your backgrounds, Will, you being in the military, and working as a contractor for these military, military industrial complex, I guess is what I would say. I don't know if that's what I would call it. I don't exactly
I
know.
guess you could call it that.
Yeah, and
The
then
DoD.
and then Mike, with the Silicon Valley experience, you know, you guys are all too familiar, I'm sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. The need for privacy and security and all of that. I can't imagine that either of those entities are acting in this space willy nilly, right? And so I would assume that the protocols that you're need to adhere to whenever you're working on something or building something, there has to be that element there, right? I'm sure there's like separated need to know basis of this and that's happening, and then somehow it all comes together and the whole 9 yards. I'm curious if you take if that is kind of like a foundation of what you guys have built with the whole TextRP thing, right? Because let's face it, okay, guys, Dip a Toe Show, we've had a lot of different projects on here. Okay, we have, and like you say, some of them are the fun things and the games and all these things. Okay, um, and that's fantastic. I am a champion of anyone that's building in this space. I encourage it. Learn and grow. Dip your toe. But when you're talking about messaging and grabbing messages from another app and bringing it into something, somebody's going to want to know that that is secure and easy for them to use. They don't have to worry that they're giving access to something that's going to compromise them and all of that. And so, in my opinion, it's very important. Which again, you guys are front facing. You have your faces, your names out there. It is legit. And I want the audience to know that, because I personally believe, and I shouldn't even be saying this at this stage of the interview, but I personally believe that TextRP is going to be like whatever, whether you keep it the name TextRP or we're going to talk about what else you guys have been working on, but it is going to be something that people are going to be using. In the very near future. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to jump on and get this to make their lives easier. So I just wondered your perspective, and can you validate everything that I've just said?
Yeah,
I can.
go
I'd
ahead,
like to
Will.
say something. Okay, so the TextRP messaging app that we have, which is a client, a consumer-facing application, is meant to address those issues that I discussed earlier about having multiple apps, missing out on messages because you weren't on a specific platform, giving you the ability to consolidate messages from various platforms into one. However, that's just one of the features that we can do with our client. And so TextRP as the consumer facing application, we treat that as our flagship product that faces the community, faces the consumer. And as we develop our technologies to make things easier, because here's the sad truth is that true privacy and true security is actually very inconvenient. If you really want that kind of true privacy and true, I'll tell you this. For example, in my job, I oftentimes have to go into what's known as a SCIF, which is a secure communications information facility. It's a place where I cannot bring any electronics devices into this facility. It is 100% secure. Is it convenient? Absolutely not. But it is 100% secure, right? But I have to give up a lot of convenience and comfort to access that level of security. And the same thing goes when you're trying to build a platform or an app that is as secure as you can possibly make it. We also have to, focus on how convenient can we make it for the user to be able to access those level of securities without being turned off by all the steps that may be necessary to get to that point of security. And this is where Mike is doing a lot of effort here and going into a lot of progress into making those algorithms and that user experience to be much more seamless. So average people can access those levels of security without having to go through all that rigmarole of it. So TextRP is our consumer facing app. And we'll talk a little bit about our, I don't want to call it a pivot, but definitely a focus into where we're going, because a consumer facing app, I don't know if how familiar you are with this. It's actually pretty difficult to get off the ground because you have to make sure that the experience is as best as possible for the most people possible. Right. And as we continue to build out our client facing app, our consumer facing app, we are developing some really innovative features on the back end that people on TextRP are able to take advantage of. But also we're seeing that this can provide some very powerful solutions for enterprise customers. All right. And so our same back end that is being provided to TextRP and the consumer facing app is something that we are also able to offer on the enterprise side of things to provide some enterprise grade communications. And we're talking about different types of markets. We're talking about business to business communications. We're talking about entity to entity communications, which means that not necessarily people, could be agents to agents. We could talk about municipalities to municipalities. We're even talking about, getting into the HIPAA space to provide services for medical companies. And this is the kind of technology that we really look at, and we go, oh my goodness, we have so much more than on the back end that we can really surface to our consumers, because obviously, if we're trying to build a client app that solves the issue of consolidating all your messages into one place, you don't need HIPAA for that. We want to provide as much value to the consumer facing application, while at the same time building some really awesome solutions that we can provide to enterprise, which is what's going to really drive our growth and our revenue, which will then benefit our operations and those who support us through our Launchpad NFTs.
That's a lot, Mike. You got a lot of, you got, that's a big
Big shoes to fill, right?
big shoes to fill, Mike.
Well, the news here is that thankfully I'm not like rebuilding a wheel. I'm not redesigning a wheel here, right? So we're building off of open source technology that's been proven. So we're not having to like redesign encryption algorithms, right? Where the security of like connecting your external inboxes comes into play. I'm going to basically look at using zero knowledge proofs to basically establish a relationship between your account with us and whatever external account. So we don't have to ever know the contents of those credentials, right? We just know this relationship exists and then we trust it. So that's how we're going to handle the bringing in of external inboxes. And it's truly those messages still exist over here. We're just pumping them in, so that you can visibly see them within our app. All of the native chat application runs with the end-to-end encryption that comes with the native open source, service, basically, and that basically provides you with peace of mind that your messages are stored encrypted on your machine, and they're stored encrypted anywhere else too. There's no plain text messages stored anywhere. So, and that goes for like messages between you and one other person and messages with a group of people even. So, a lot of the modern chat applications don't have end-to-end encryption built in. Even X struggles a bit with this because, as you can see, if you try to use their messaging app, it has a lot of issues.
Yes.
And then was it WhatsApp or Messenger?
Signal. Oh,
Well,
Messenger.
Signal is one,
I don't
but
like Messenger at all.
yeah, one of the Meta basically gave up on encrypted messaging. Is my message to you. So if you use their messaging apps, just know it's never encrypted, and it probably never was. But we see these things going on. Discord having security breaches where people are able to scrape messages from servers, and that just doesn't. I don't like that, so I actually avoid those at all costs. But that comes back to the privacy and security. You can still choose to use those platforms for messaging, so that you can use a singular platform. You don't have to beg your friends to come here, to message with you. Still, you can still bridge with those platforms if you want to, right?
I tell you,
that's a. Oh, I want to say, because he brings up a really good point here. Mike does. One of the challenges, and I studied this to no end, bringing up TextRP. One of the challenges of bringing up a social network, so to speak, And there are new social networks springing up all the time. All right. There are new messaging apps springing up all the time. The challenge is really onboarding, is not onboarding the individual, is onboarding their network. Right. And so oftentimes, a lot of times, where people will not go to a new social media network, for example, like the Threads or Blue Sky or whatever, is because you're going into a place where, all your people are in the other platform, right? And so the challenge has always been, oh, how do we onboard people and then trigger a network effect? Well, I looked at it and just said, let's throw the whole thing out. Let's throw the whole playbook out. Let's not talk about how do we onboard people. Let's just meet them where they are. That way, and it's like Mike said, if you're talking to someone on WhatsApp, it's not about convincing them to jump over and use the new messaging platform. If they're happy with WhatsApp, then let them stay in WhatsApp, right? We want the user to just be comfortable in whatever environment they want to use. Now with TextRP, they're able to consolidate all that, but they don't have to convince their networks to jump on board a TextRP for them to be able to communicate. And that's key for us.
Absolutely. Two things. Number one, the fact that you're saying meet them where they're at. You're designing it for the customer. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago. I ran across that clip of Steve Jobs talking about it, building for the customer. A lot of times the technology, they build something, and you were mentioning how difficult it is to build an app, right? Get it off the ground, get people. Well, it needs to be friendly. It needs to be easy for the user, the person, attractive. All the back stuff, unfortunately, most people don't even care about. They care about it, but they really don't care about it, right? So the fact that you're building something with it in mind of wherever they're at, when they come into yours, your stuff is going to be secure. So if they're on WhatsApp and whatever, and I do get a little bit frustrated, particularly in the crypto space. Everybody wants to take you away from where you found them at, right? You're on X, we've got these communities, they want you to come over to Discord, come over to Telegram, right? I've been part of lots of these different groups, and in fact, I was just listening to a space earlier, and Danny Draper was talking to Weetza on there about, getting compromised I think it was in a Telegram group, right? Somehow, some way, she got on a call with somebody, and they were able to get into her wallet. They weren't able to get into the XRP, but some of these browser wallets and whatnot. And I don't know how all that stuff works in the back end, right? I just don't. That's why I've had the crypto shows. That's why I like to be around guys like you that do understand this kind of stuff. And so the fact that you're building something with the security aspect in mind and the privacy, I think that is key in a winner. So what do you guys think? I mean, like, is that like the core? I just think I feel like
it has to be. To be honest, that's where a lot of people go wrong right now. Is security has to be baked into the design of whatever system you're building. And today you see people with AI, they just say, I have this idea and I need to get it in front of people as fast as possible. And to do that, you skip a lot of those steps that would bake security in. So, that's it. I'm a traditional software engineer, so I started like developing before AI became what it is today. So, I'm a little more cautious when it comes to using it than most people. But I would say it has its place. But with security, it's just one of those things you can't mess around with, right? So that it's definitely a very serious thing. I mean, it's one of those things where companies can be fined like millions or even billions of dollars, I'm sure, for data breaches. Depending on the type of data that is being exposed. It's there's just a little anecdotal story. One of the clients at the startup that I'm working for is actually like a therapy group. Like they have different offices around,
Yeah.
and so they do therapy sessions. And they
Oh
paid
boy.
somebody to build them something, and this guy vibe coded the entire thing.
Oh no.
And yep, and it's a nightmare. They like their billing system is like charging people more than once, even though they don't have a balance. And it's just one of those things where that's not like a security thing, but it is kind of like
Yeah.
somebody's being charged more than once. But yeah, it's just to come back to the security and those types of things being thought about like from the very start. And so that's one of the things we kind of learned from TextRP, the beta that had been running basically for the last 2 years or so, was while it was very private in terms of messaging, I started to get this feeling like wallets being visible out in the open, like your wallet address just kind of being there, like, and you join a group and now whoever else is in that group sees, oh, I own this wallet. And I was like, well, that might not be the best, right? So I started thinking a better way to do this would be like a verification system where like you and we talk to each other, and at this point we don't know what each other's wallet is. We can't transact with each other, right? But we talk to each other, we get kind of comfortable, then we verify each other with like a handshake, if you will, digitally, right? And now we are verified and we join each other's network of trust and we can transact. Now, I started also thinking, well, what if this network of trust started growing, right? I started verifying with more people, and then maybe their mutual people cross with my mutual people. And maybe I have this ability to say, hey, if I have 5 mutual verifications with somebody, just let me transact without verifying. Like, I trust my people. So, that's just one of the things that came to mind in terms of security. I trust the security of our messaging and the identity portion, because most of that is tied to the XRP ledger itself. You log into the website with your wallet. You don't give us an email address, a phone number. You just literally sign a what they call a pseudo transaction. You sign a pseudo transaction with your wallet, and all this does is prove that you own this wallet. Nobody else can sign the transaction, right? So you prove you own the wallet, you prove you own that account with us, and that's as easy as it gets, really.
Yeah, and that there's a lot to that. We were talking about some of the requirements of, for example, the GDPR from Europe and any of these laws that may come in. Let's say we get subpoenaed by the government saying we need this much data. The less data that we are in control of, the better. Which is why I think it's why we want that approach of, we don't want your personal information. It's not so much, yes, it's a privacy thing, but also it's a liability thing for us.
Yes.
The less we have, the less we can hand over. And so that's also kind of like a running philosophy when we build.
You guys are blowing minds in the chat. they're calling you gigabrains. I will say, yeah, that is one of the things that just even, I right away being on X, with the contest and seeing people say, drop your wallet in the comments, and I'm like, don't do that, even though, yeah, that's the one you transact with and everything and all of that, but you're still letting people know at some point, and they can take other pieces of information and somehow maybe find out who you are, whatever. You just don't even want that. You don't, it's unnecessary. I'm curious your thoughts now. I know like this, I don't want to talk too much about this, but X has the X money thing. And so when you were describing that, sending money back and forth. So it created the account for me, when I signed up, it created the bank account for me. I can easily put money into it, but I can transact with you under my username. You don't know who I am. You don't know what my checking account number is that they just assigned me, and I can still send you $5. That's powerful. That and this sounds like the same thing. It's very
Pretty much.
powerful to be able to send whatever. So I can't wait for you guys to expand more, because I know you've been working on it, and personally knowing that you're slowly building it, focusing on the security aspects of it, adhering to that safety is important, because you gotta have that foundation layer there.
No, you're spot on, so part of this, security wise, comes down to the wallets we support, right? So um, we've been supporting Zaman as like the only wallet on the platform for a while, with the promise of multi-wallet support in the future. And I had been working diligently on multi-wallet support for about a year, and new wallets just kept popping up. And I was like, man, this is going to never end. And these wallets are never going to stop evolving. And that, not only is that hard to keep up with as a solo like engineer, and also with my own priorities, like my own product, right? Um, it's also introducing more risk with those multiple wallets, right? Now I have
Vibe
to vet
coded, vibe
it
coded wallets,
potentially,
even maybe, right?
potentially, right? And I don't want to be, basically sticking my neck out for all these other wallets, and also it's cumbersome to onboard new people to a gumball machine of wallets. You know, it kind of is. So I took a step back, and I really, really wanted to work with Palisade. And I was like, man, Mantham, let's work together, bud. And he was really cool. We were in conversations with each other, and then they got acquired by Ripple, and which is great. We're really proud of them. We're super happy that they got acquired by Ripple. They're doing great things there still. I got confirmation of that the other day. But basically, him and I had a meeting. He was literally in the Ripple office in New York, and he was like, "Hey, man, it's got to be really quick. What's the domain address that you guys are going to use for testing?" And I was like, "All right, I didn't know I was going to need a domain. Here's a random domain that I'll create." And then I never heard from him again. So,
Oh
but
no.
that's not to throw them under the bus. That's just to say they had to move so quickly with this merger or acquisition with Ripple. I'm sure they got cut off from any partnerships, right? So
Yep.
if you don't know, Palisade is a type of wallet that runs on multi-party computation, which I know that's like technical word salad, but MPC for short. And what that means is when you create a wallet with them, you actually don't write down a seed phrase. You just create a pass key, and this pass key or password, and it encrypts a piece of the seed phrase, and that seed phrase is spread out into shards across multiple servers that the wallet provider is maintaining for you, and those are all encrypted independently, right? And so if you think about it, you now remove this rail, or remove this barrier, I mean, of having to copy down a seed phrase to create this wallet, um, and now all you have is a pass key or a password that you would come up with yourself or use your face, right? Um, and that protects your one little piece of the shard. And this can be your social wallet, right? So that was the idea. Like, we would have our own social wallet. So you would come to our platform, you would create a TextRP wallet through Palisade. That was the plan. So a wrench got kind of threw into that. So I was like, well, we were going to support multi wallets. We were going to support like our own wallet, obviously, and try to push people there. I guess I'm just gonna have to build it myself now, right? Like that's the only option. And it's really not even to compete with Palisade or Ripple custody. It's really to be a social wallet, like your bridge, or I even just said the word, sorry. Your wallet in our platform is basically a bridge to any messaging platform, right? It becomes this digital, decentralized identity where your identity is anchored on the XRP ledger. Nothing about you is stored on the XRP ledger. Remember, I mentioned zero knowledge proofs earlier. So, using the XRP ledger's features of like decentralized identity, credentials, we can basically provide you with a identity that's anchored on chain and super secure and tied to a wallet that is super easy to use.
I want to maybe break that down a little bit as to what
Please.
that looks like for the user, right?
Perfect.
So what we're talking about here, Melissa, and everyone listening, and this is really key. What we're talking about here is a method to onboard anyone who's not in crypto into crypto without them even knowing that they're in crypto.
Mm,
Okay, so it's a method in which you come to our app to register for their app. Basically, you use your favorite biometric passkey, whether it's your PIN or some passphrase or your face or your fingerprint, and then that registers you into our platform, but not only registers you in the platform, but procures for you an XRPL wallet already made for you. So if you are coming in to this, coming across this app, and this app is one that helps you consolidate your messages, and that's all you're looking at, and you're thinking, okay, great, never heard of crypto in my life, don't care about it, don't want it, don't need it. That's fair enough. We're going to solve your messaging problems for you. Simply register. Oh, no, we don't need your personal information for this at all. Just go ahead, set up your passphrase or tap your fingerprint or whatever. And before you know it, you have yourself a crypto wallet and you're in the space and you don't even know that you're in crypto.
Yeah, you were like, why am I getting all these tokens from Bob or some, like who is this guy?
Why is this person sending me these tokens?
Well,
Well,
ironically, that's something we want to try to prevent, with the trust network, so that you're not getting, at least through the platform, nobody's like transacting with you because they don't know what your wallet is, right?
I love it. That while it is very technical, um, and some would say like, not your keys, not your crypto. You know what I mean? If you don't know what your passphrase is there any way that you could actually get your passphrase in the event that you wanted
So
it, or
I
no?
think what I think what people need to start to realize is there's more than one kind of wallet, right? Um, you don't want to put your mortgage in this wallet,
Right.
okay? You
You
you're
called it a
gonna
social wallet. That is much different than your
yes,
my
okay,
crypto bags or my big
yeah.
bank account, right?
Genuinely, you'll probably never put much in here, unless you literally are sending to it on the purpose of transacting with someone else, right? That's basically it. It's not meant to be your cold wallet. It's going to be a very hot wallet. It's the one that you want to be potentially exposed. Not that it could be, but every time you sign a message on the ledger, your wallet's footprint becomes more exposed. So
Yeah.
somebody can go tracing your wallet back. If you're using this throwaway wallet, like the one that you can spin up with us, first of all, the seed phrase is split up, let's say 3 to 5 times, so somebody would have to get access to all 3 or 5 servers and decrypt all pieces of your seed phrase in order to use it, right? So it's a little more layers of complexity for somebody like that to get access to it. But um, So yeah, it's not meant to be your main wallet, but it is still super secure as a foundation, because I did not want to make a browser Chrome extension wallet. I didn't want to go that route or anything like that. Our dream is to be mobile native, because that's where people live for
Yep.
communicating these days. So yeah, it
No,
didn't
I
make
mean,
sense to go that route.
it'd be great. Have the app on your phone. You connect all your messages. You open up your app and you can pull your messages. That sounds like a dream, honestly.
That
To
is the
me,
dream.
that sounds like just a wonderful dream.
Yeah.
One other thing that as we're talking about the wallet part of it, um, we're already using this kind of stuff now. Like, I don't know if those of you who are listening, but it's more and more common where you are getting, creating like these pass keys and this kind of stuff. And I in the beginning I was always really kind of worried to use them because I thought, like, what if something happens and something happens to my phone? Am I going to get locked out of this or that because I used the pass key and all of
Mhm.
that? And I've navigated around it a couple of times and realized that no, I'm still able to change my password. I'm still able to do it, but it's the signing of it as you're getting in and out of these things where you're not physically typing in a password every time or giving somebody your secret key or all of that. It's a different way of entering into the app, right?
Yeah.
I don't Am I
No, I
wrong?
mean it literally no, it is. So it's the tech is basically super simple. I mean, a pass key can look like a physical device, like a USB. It's called a YubiKey, where it's like a little thing you plug in. It can be literally like the finger scanner on your MacBook, your face scanner on your phone, or the finger scanner on your phone. Any kind of like those biometric pass keys are usually the best because you can't forget it.
Yeah.
um, so but yeah, it's that simple. Instead of having to it is that simple on some of the other wallets, but to start and create a wallet, it doesn't get any simpler. And you can see there's a very similar wallet that Anados Finance uses. They're
Mm.
actually like kind of grandfathered into that Palisade ecosystem. So that
Nice.
wallet is actually the exact same, and we love those guys. So I don't mind giving them a little shout out there. But you
Yeah,
know,
shout out Andos Finance. Let's
yeah,
go. So you mentioned you went from having this thought that you were going to support a bunch of different wallets to deciding
yeah,
it was better just to create your own social wallet.
yep,
So do you want to walk us kind of through that, or start to introduce maybe some of the major things you guys have been working on, because it's a big deal, and
well,
breaking
yeah.
this is breaking news on the Dipito show.
It's even, I would say, Will is probably like not super aware of how much I've even told you, Melissa, but he doesn't even know as much as I've told you probably, which is
Let's
funny.
go.
But
Awesome.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah,
I totally understand because Mike has been working so hard the last. I'd
for
say he's
months.
been for the last few months. He's just been just grinding away. I mean, he probably won't even discuss some of the stuff he's been doing, but we are one of the important things is that before he continues is that we have taken our code base and and this is a little technical, but we have done a refactoring in order for us to then be able to approach enterprise a little easier. And that has to do with the kind of code base that we're using. We're eliminating our dependency on some possible risks and third-party
Yeah,
libraries that may provide a risk. So we're kind of locking everything in so we can get move towards our what's known as SOX certification, SOCS,
Yep.
and
Yep.
also our HIPAA certifications. But yeah, I'm going to get some updates right now from Mike as well.
Let's
yeah. I
go.
mean, I'll try not to be boiling the water or boiling the ocean here, but so like I was kind of briefly tiptoeing around earlier, I've learned a lot from the TextRP beta. I actually didn't build the TextRP beta. I came in and that already existed. So I came in and kind of had to reverse engineer the entire ecosystem to understand what the heck was going on, and also understand how XRPL works at the same time. So it was like drinking from like 4 fire hoses all at once, and trying not to drown. But we're here now, and we're floating, and we're good. But yeah, so I mentioned the privacy stuff about not seeing the wallets, and what another thing, as I'm working on the back end side of the product, I know there's so much friction on the front end because was basically a clone of a open source product that was not refined by design, so that you would pay them to get the well polished version, right? And our priorities were always in the integrating of XRP. So once we got all of those things figured out, right? Like the beta was basically like our playground to test things out. We built a native token gate feature so that communities could token gate their rooms or their communities with NFTs or IOU tokens, without having to trust some random guy's bot on Discord. Not throwing shade at Puppy Tools or that guy. He's cool, but there's other people out there, I'm sure, that have been vibe coding bots and stuff for Discord, and you just never know. But we wanted to build a platform that for builders first. Like I do want to say the rollout will probably be slow for the end user in terms of seeing what's actually been built, because I want builders to get their hands on it first. I want builders to tell me where the flaws are and tell me how to make it easier for them to use it, because the whole point of this is to break down the walls and the barriers between our communities, right? Everybody can build an app now, a website. It's not hard. But with that, if you can just focus on building the thing you want and bring your community there, and do that with the communications that you already use, like why not? So that's what I'm focused on. Our app is on the table. I'm designing it like literally every day right now, because I'm taking the user experience very seriously. So I'm strictly like, I've rewritten the entire back end of our application, and it's just waiting for me to play with it with the new client. And so I've got multiple priorities going on, where I'm working on this B2B side of the business, where I'm trying to get the back end in a place where builders can come and utilize it, both in our application, building widgets and bots and agents, right, that can do things with users, and then also building things on their own platform. And so that's kind of the main focus, is getting to those builders first. So if there's any builders that are listening, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, because I need people to help me dog food this thing to prove it out, right? So, and I can't say that I'll like pay you or anything like that, but if you're a passionate engineer like me, there will be benefit in learning and growing, because I'm looking to basically help. Like I came to Will and told him, like, I'm not looking to get paid, dude. I just want to work on something cool and learn. Because Will, you don't know this, I actually thought Will was like the lead engineer on this project. I didn't know he was like the whole brains behind it. I didn't know all of that stuff. But but yeah, I've already learned a lot. And so I'm looking to pour into more builders. Even if you're just a vibe coder, my daytime job right now is actually building like agentic workflows for businesses. And so I've been learning how to use agents in sustainable ways, securely. So I can help with those types of things too. If you're looking to build, even if you only use AI, that's fine. I can help you with that too. We have a dream. Go ahead.
I just want to back up for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for the folks that are listening, anybody thinking about building, or you're already a builder, One of the things that are really important that you said, SOX compliant and HIPAA.
Yes.
Those two things. Now that is, give me an example of maybe an app that is SOX compliant, HIPAA compliant. How complicated is it in order to design your app to be SOX compliant,
Well,
HIPAA compliant?
it's all about access control, and it starts at the very beginning. Like they audit you from, like, let's say we use Google Workspace to manage our email, right? They're going to check that before they even check our application. Like they check it from the very front gate, how much access control is there. And so it's not even just how much access do our end users have to other messages, is how much access do we have to the user's data too, right? So they want it to be as contiguous as possible, which means literally if you don't have access to this data, you have zero ways of ever accessing it. And so it's pretty difficult to do it retroactively. You have to be proactive about this
100%.
if you want to get it done without literally redesigning your entire application. And that's actually not why I did this. I actually wrote the entire application to get away from licensing and anything like that in the future. And I didn't want to put my trust in a foundation based in the EU either. With the laws that are going on around communications. So that just felt like a bit of a risk. And I was like, let's pivot there. So nothing is actually changing in terms of the mission. We're still using the TXT token. That's not going away ever, until it's all burned up, which it's not going to happen. You can try. But
try to burn it.
You can try to burn it all. But we're not changing that. The launch packs aren't going away, and the feature packs aren't going away. And we can kind of touch on what those are and what those mean to the product, because we've been talking about all these really cool things, and you probably are starting to wonder, well, guys, how the heck are you even gonna make money? How are you gonna survive? People still got to feed their kids and stuff, right? Well, yes, that is true. We can't just, give people everything for free forever, right? But that's why we're trying to come at this from a B2B motion first. And if we can be successful there, then we can give as much as we can for free to our our flagship users, right? So with that being said, we're still going to be doing chat for free. If you have ever used TextRP, there's a concept of these M credits where you would have to spend a little bit of M credits for every message. And then a couple months ago, or maybe it was the end of last year, we released the announcement of free chat now. So that's not going away. I mean, we're not going to be paying or charging for native chat. That's still going to be a thing. But we're just going to be changing a little bit about how it's presented, I guess, to the end user, because we're going to try to be bringing in normies, right? So if we immediately hit them with this gate that involves crypto, they might be like, well, that's a little weird, kind of standoffish. But we live in this world now where credits are this very common thing, if you use AI at all for anything at work, you have these token credits, and they just go down, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have premium features basically that will deduct some of those credits from our platform. And then you'll have options to pay for those. So you can pay for them with, let's say you have a Stripe. Well, that's a little technical. Stripe is a payment processor online. So let's say you can pay with your debit card or credit card. There's one normie easy payment option, right? Or you can use your wallet that you already have on the platform. Or you can use the TXT token, which is our utility token. And that actually gives you a little bit of a bonus on the credits that you get back from us because you are doing us this favor of using our token in the ecosystem, right? And then, I guess another added part of that, which I don't know, we can get to that, the rewards, I guess, later, because that might be, something that comes as soon as possible, but I don't know if it's going to be a part of like the system as soon as we release it. I would love it to be, though.
Yeah.
But basically, the dream is that you come to our platform and you're using your other outbound messages or external messaging platforms, I mean, inside of it. And for doing so, you are using a little bit of our internal credits for using those external systems. But because you're doing that, you're actually building up this this engagement like score, right? So as you're burning these credits, like your engagement score is going up. And so we're going to reward users for their engagement based on a certain amount of time comparatively, right? So if you think about it, there will be like these, and we'll have it'll be like a gamified engagement, basically, so that you can use your existing chat applications, but use them with us. And because you're doing that, you're actually being rewarded for it. Whereas if you continued to message on like a Discord or WhatsApp, you wouldn't be getting rewarded for it, right? So that's just like an incentive for user retention, really, to be clear. Like that's why we do that, is to help us monetize the feature, for one, because we have to pay the bills, and we reward you for it so that you keep coming back. And we want to provide you with value. So.
Question.
Yeah.
Question. So, what are the odds that folks just go, why can't I just do all my chatting here and like not even use all these other ones? Is there any thought of like that might be possibly what'll end up happening at the end of the day?
User choice is important to
Yeah.
me. So when you show up to the platform, we are not going to inundate you with all the externals, right? You'll see there's this option to go get a bridge added to your account, and you'll be like, well, what's a bridge? You can go over there, and maybe we'll have a more guided feel for it, right? So it kind of explains what everything is, but you're not going to be forced into using those external applications if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. If you want to use the free chat and force your friend to come over there and use the free chat, you can do that too. Because there's going to be other things about the app like widgets and bots, and we want to have builders come and build so that we can have a marketplace of widgets and bots that communities or individuals can like purchase basically from the marketplace to have access to them. Because we want this to be an ecosystem. Like, it's not just for us. Like, it's meant to empower the builders of the XRPL to actually build with their community and provide their communities with more utility too.
I love it. What were you going to say, Will?
Well, we were talking about our payment system where we can do peer-to-peer payments, but that in itself opens it up to, as Mike mentioned, widgets, right? So it's not just about being able to transact with the XRPL for the purpose of payments, but also to interact with the XRPL for whatever other purposes there are for the XRPL. So through our widgets is how we are able to deliver such projects like games, DeFi tools, token swaps, and such, that there are so many other projects out there that are building these tools, these utilities. Through our widgets, they're able to deliver them in a chat environment. So it's not just about making payments, but say I'm in the chat room and I want to play a specific XRPL game, I can pull up that widget and play it right there with my friends in the chat room. And that interacts with the ledger accordingly. So, and the cool thing about that is that the game does connect with the chat room itself, meaning that it can adapt itself accordingly. So if it's like, for example, a multiplayer game and a new person comes into the room, the game can actually adjust itself accordingly. And so that's what we talk about when we talk about widgets and, talking about sort of our revenue plan. that it's not just going to be solely dependent on the users, because not often we don't want to we don't want to offload the cost, the majority of the cost to the user at all. That's why we made chat within the platform absolutely free. What we are doing is offering services to businesses and other XRPL, and maybe in the future other blockchain projects, a way for them to deliver those services onto TextRP. So we would probably we're going to be looking more at those people, those business to business transactions, to bring the value in to the users that are using the app for mostly for free. And so we're talking about things like integrating tokens. Mike mentioned how for the purchase of the M credits within TextRP, you'll be able to use either a credit card, or you can use XRP, or if you use our native TXT token, you can do that as well. We also have an ability to integrate other project tokens as well. So other tokens can be used for payment of those M credits, and then we usually just take those tokens and burn them. So it's a benefit for the project that we work with that integrates their tokens into our platform, because basically we're adding messaging utility to whatever token integrates.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, space. I don't know how. I don't really
Like
know
outer
exactly.
space?
Yeah, space, man. No,
The final
the
frontier.
the amount of space it takes to hold all the data. So, that can get costly. Scaling it. There's like, I've seen folks, they have these big ideas for, NFTs and all of that, and then they realize, like, if you're gonna let them upload it, there's a big cost in people storing. How is this messaging and bringing in, like, bridging these messages in? How is that different? Because I'm assuming these messages aren't really housed on your platform, really. They're showing up there, right?
The bridged ones, right? They're not housed in our data set. That's correct. Like, we're not ingesting those messages and storing them. So there's no like bloat there. The internal messages, we can do things like, it depends on how, like, we could probably set like a retention period for people's messages. Like, if you don't,
Yeah.
I don't know how often you guys go back and look at messages from 6 months ago, but I don't. So maybe those ones just go away forever. I don't know. But that would be a part of the agreement, maybe when you sign up, like,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a setting you set, like, for how long you
Yeah,
want them. But
we actually explored the idea, and this isn't set in stone yet, but the idea of an archiving function in which you can actually mint an NFT that archives your messages, uh, you know, uh, on chain in a
Yeah.
way, and that kind of takes a little bit of the stress of that storage. There are also distributed storage solutions that we're exploring. But as
Hmm.
Mike said, those bridged communications. So, for example, if you're bridging something from Discord, we're just
Yeah.
passing them right through. So the
Oh.
only place they're going to be stored is on Discord servers and on your device.
Yeah, see, it's like, and here's, I'm patting myself on the back slightly here, because I'm learning a little bit of stuff with, like, even my website, right? I've got my YouTube video. It's being stored on YouTube, and I post the link, or I embed it into my website. My website's not actually housing the video unless I upload it
Mhm.
to there. Or,
right.
for example, Google, back in the day, I don't know how many people realize, like, there's limited amount of storage. It seems like a lot until it's not, until you don't clear your inbox out or whatever on Google, and you start taking pictures and having them backed up. Well, then they just start charging you, right, for the storage if you don't want to deal with it. And most of us just go, I'll pay the extra $3 a month so I don't have to go and clean out all my stuff right now. So, yeah, I was just wondering, like, on a scalability fact, that there's a cost to it, depending on how
Oh
early
yeah,
you start getting on board with it and all of that. But the fact is that it's secure and it's usable. Um, so that's very
and
attractive.
the beauty of it too is, we could one day, um, if all goes well, even package this as like an appliance that you purchase and you put in your home, right? And so now you have your literal, like, a home communication server, so that you own it, right? You're like, oh, here's where my communications are, and that's where the data lives too. And so if anybody talks to you on your network, those messages live there. There's no external body, right? And that could be made possible easily with technology like Evernode. I don't know if you've spoke about
Yes.
Evernode on your platform, but
You know what? Can I just say, anybody got a connection with the Evernote? I want Evernote and
I do.
Zahao folks.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to someone about Evernote. Opti and I, Optimistic Prime, Amanda, Wandering Footprint. You guys know we've talked about that, the whole decentralized storage, all of
Hmm.
it. And people were like, Evernote, 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 and they were just mentioning it again on the space today. And I'm like, I've got to get someone on. So yeah, I
So
absolutely would love it.
I could
Yeah.
definitely, and I will say I've been diving deep in Evernode for like a year now. I actually run Evernode servers myself, and have been developing things for Evernode on Evernode, etc. So I can answer questions for you too, but I can also see if I can get somebody like Scott from Evernode to come on Dipito. I think that would be a great person to have on here.
You and Scott, let's make it happen. I would love
I
it.
would. We'll
Thank
see.
you.
I'll put my feelers out there.
Okay,
But yeah,
appreciate it.
that would be ideal. I want to use Evernode to basically help builders too, so that we can help them like deploy their widgets and their bots to somewhere with their XRPL wallet. So that there's no like third party database somewhere. Like, it would probably be the servers that like I know the operators of, so I trust whoever's running them, right? That's the
Yep.
beauty of Evernote, is I don't have to, like, it is distributed in that it's like operators are all over the world, but you can pick the operator you want to use. So you can, and that's the thing is, we could basically create this communications network for operators so that you can actually talk to these people and figure out who you're renting Evernote space from. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah,
No,
it's a
that's
beautiful
that.
tech. It's a beautiful tech. If you don't know, it's people call it a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. Evernode was Codius, which was originally being developed by Ripple, and then when they were working on hooks with the XRPL Labs folks, they were also working on Codius, and that was basically supposed to be the programmability layer for the XRPL off of the XRPL in a way. Is going to use hooks on chain and these programmable layers off chain. And they, for whatever reason, scrapped it, but the guys that built it kept with it, and they ended up rebranding Codius as Evernode, and they launched it as its own network. And people tell me that the problem with Codius was that it didn't have like a native token, so there wasn't a way for the operators of the network to actually benefit from operating.
I
Kind
see.
of like there, I guess it's that the best incentive is no incentive. They were trying to carry that on with Codius,
Yeah.
but for the, like, I guess the amount of compute, whatever,
Electricity and
the
yeah, yeah,
electricity,
yeah. There's overhead.
there has to be some incentive for operators if you're renting compute from them, right? So
Yeah.
it relaunched, and yeah, it's not an investment token. I don't, like, anybody that comes to me asking about it, I tell them, don't go buy Evernode as an investment tool. You only need to buy it if you plan on using it to
Mhm.
actually operate on Evernode. It's, yeah, I think it's great, personally. So it's a great topic to go down. But yeah, we want to use it in our ecosystem. Because one, we could use it to help decentralize our platform further.
Very powerful.
Yeah, that's always been the goal, is to decentralize our platform as far as we possibly can without making sacrifices, because eventually with decentralization, you have to start asking, well, who actually owns my data, right? So once you can answer that question, and you're happy about the answer, then you can stop the decentralization of your platform there, right? But I think we'll get to that point. It's very, very possible with the technology that we're leveraging to have this world where there's many versions of our client, the application that we're running, and we're all able to intercommunicate with one another. So, yep.
I am six. Yeah, I believe you. And I had to ask that question because there are so many projects. It's like, what about the scalability of it? And the fact that you've thought about this already is really
Yeah.
important. So not only have you thought about, the security layer of it and, SOX compliancy and the HIPAA, all of that stuff, you're also thinking about scalability, decentralization, having a tool, letting people maybe have their own client servers for communication. That opens up a whole lot of doors and makes this project even more attractive.
Well,
So,
let me ask you something, Melissa,
yeah.
because you're a great person to ask. I threw this at Will, and I don't mind throwing this idea out there because it's not going to be a novel one. But what would you think about a place where you go, like let's say you came to our website and we were like, hey, you want to build your own chat application that you like with all the features you want, and then you just like tell this bot, or you have a conversation and it pumps out your chat application, like it's yours. And if there's something wrong with it or you don't like something, you just go back to this thing and you say, fix this for me, I don't like this color here or whatever. And I was telling Will, it's like bring your own chat application, like we have the back end, you bring the front end basically. If you But yeah, I don't know, I feel like we're going to see that happen more in the future with software development as AI gets better and better at taking people's ideas and turning them into a visual representation of that idea. But I don't necessarily trust AI to facilitate the logic that we have going on in the back end. So I think it would be a good place to allow people to be more creative and get exactly what they want.
Well, this is what excites me about. So here's the thing. You guys have been around for a couple of years. Oh, we just lost Will. You guys have been around for a couple of years. You're building the trust already. You're doing all the things that are right. You get your SOX compliancy, you get the HIPAA, you get the audits that you show about the security aspect and how you're building it. And then someone like me is going to feel more comfortable going into a website like yours and saying, yes, I know that when I do this is I'm only building the front side. All the
Hmm.
security stuff in the back end, that's already done for me by someone that I trust. Because there are a lot of apps and stuff that you can go and do and build these things. And like you say, there's a lot of people building things.
Hmm.
Grok, you can do it. You can build some stuff now, and it's all fun and games, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what's happening on the back end, right? Like
Right.
we don't know these things. So I think it's really awesome that you're thinking in this way, and I'm super excited about it. We have about 25 minutes left, and I definitely want you to be able to talk about where you're headed. I know Will had some things that he wanted, so hopefully he can come back in, talk about the packs that you guys have got.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
can I can talk about those if I need to.
yeah.
I know he wanted to talk about the burn boxes,
Mhm.
so we can give him a minute or two to come back and talk about those. But I'll talk about the feature packs and the and where we're going and everything, because I don't want people to think that we've just abandoned ship or anything like that. Because if you go to the TextRP website today, you'll see it says that we're migrating, and that's because we saw this, like, I was like, hey, Will, I have conflicting priorities here. I'm like, I have to either fix TextRP as it is now, or I need to build the new thing. But like if I build the new thing, then we've got this thing over here just like hemorrhaging money every month, right? Like, what do I do? So I made the executive decision to wind it down over here and kind of pull it off of Amazon Web Services so that we're not paying this massive bill every month, especially in a bear market too. Like, You know,
Yep.
it's one thing in a bull market where everybody's happy and, you know, you have more users, but, you know, it just made sense financially. And I was like, well, you know, and Will has been basically floating the project, you know, himself, you know, like,
Yep.
so I was like, dude, we got to do this for you and me mentally. So, but yeah, I want to in the next couple months. Is when I would love to be able to release the actual product. But before then, I'm going to need to start having, you know, like beta testers and stuff like that. So I did mention to you, Melissa,
Yeah.
that I would let you know when I was ready for that. And so I would love to basically put that invite out to you and your community that whenever we're ready, maybe we can start by getting a dip a toe community in the new version
I would
as like
love
a
that.
beta, like as like a test, right? And that because I want to get feedback from the users as quickly as possible so that I can make it better. And now that I'll have full control over everything, you know, it'll be much easier to do that. So, but yeah, I can touch on the burn boxes. I don't know if Will's gonna make it or not. He didn't say anything to
I
me.
hope he does. Do you
He's in an
want me to?
RV, so
Yeah, yeah. Just so you guys know, he's in an RV. We had a crappy connection initially, and then he reconnected. So maybe he'll be able to come back. But if he doesn't,
yeah, he
might
might have
definitely.
lost his hotspot. Maybe his
Yeah.
hotspot ran out.
Do you want me to post the uh, the website for the burn box in the chat? Cause the one that Will gave me, because you can't get to it by textrp.io
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
market.textrp.io.
Okay, yep, I will post that in the chat, guys, so you can. So yeah,
Then I can explain what it is.
perfect.
So while I've been working on the app and stuff in the background, Will's been basically trying to figure out how can we provide our users with utility for the token that we have, because we have these founders, right, that hold our launch packs and our feature packs and even our utility token since the beginning. You know, we feel like we need to keep providing them utility even during the bear market, right? So Will was like, well, what if we made a loot box style merch drop where basically you come into this marketplace and you can burn. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
I'll give a high level overview, and Will can give the more detailed spiel. But basically, the idea is you come in and you can burn a quantity of TXT, our utility token, and you don't even need to own it first, right? You can just come in and you can set the trust line on the marketplace, etc. But the burn box that you get, you're literally burning TXT. You're not exchanging it for a box. You're burning that quantity of TXT, so it has a deflationary effect on the actual like token itself, right?
Mm.
So but the box is a physical asset. So like you'll literally get mailed this box that's gonna have branded merch and security, like privacy focused items. Like I know one of the very minimal items is like a webcam cover, but it's supposed to be a mystery, right? Like what you're getting, and then every box, like the stuff that you get in the box is value like MSRP. I think like a couple bucks more than what you end up paying in TXT, and that's to really cover like shipping and stuff. But there's every box gets a bonus item, and that bonus item could be everything from a fuzzy bear sticker that we got from the fuzzy guys in Vegas to an iPad. So there's a little bit of like this mystery game to it as well. But Will, you can go ahead. I'm sure I missed stuff. So if
No,
we were
yeah,
just
you
talking
did
about
great. My apologies for dropping off here. Had a little bit of connectivity issue, but yes, the burn boxes, which I believe, Melissa, you got a chance to take a look at some of the contents while we were in Cancun.
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Super
Yeah, I did
awesome.
bring some I did bring a couple burn boxes down to Cancun, and I'll be very transparent with this. There have been a few delays with the shipping of the items, but now all the items are at the headquarters, with the exception of one, and that is the actual boxes, the mailer boxes that are going out. They are on the way, actually. We did post on X a diagram of the boxes that we're waiting for delivery. Unfortunately, I've actually had to leave town. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm actually in an RV. I had to take a little trip to take care of my mother for a few weeks. But what I do expect is that by the time I get back home, those boxes will be there. And we have a couple people that are helping us with that, and specifically a member of the XRPL community, which many people know. His name is Asi Nasi. That's his handle. He's actually going to be coming down from Virginia and staying with me at the HQ. We're gonna pack up all those boxes, load them up with the mystery items. And as Mike said, yes, there's going to be some bonus items in there. Some of them are merchandise from other projects within the XRPL. So you're going to get a nice chunk of value that, for just burning around $119 worth of the TXT token, plus a little bit of shipping, will get you this box. And as Mike says, this provides a deflationary mechanism to the TXT token as well. And it's also a way for us to continue our promise to provide maximum utility for all the digital assets that we produce. So, we do have the Launchpack NFTs, which are a foundational NFT, and then we have the TXT token. Of course, the TXT token, as we mentioned, can be used for purchasing the M credits, but also we want to have a little bit more fun as well and provide some sort of physical items that people can get their hands on. And we wanted to do it in a way that stays true to crypto. There's many projects out there that offer merchandise, but unfortunately, they have not been able to figure out the mechanism to go about and selling that merchandise for the actual token that they have. And so they're forced to use credit cards or something, or like the base token. But we've figured out a way in which we can use our own native token for the purchase of these mystery boxes, and they're limited to just 100. So we've already pre-sold a few, and the sale is live right now, so you can start ordering. I know that we do have an affiliate program as well. So if you want to sign up and
I did.
Yeah,
I found
okay.
it.
Oh,
Believe it or not, I did find it.
Okay, is it DIP?
Yeah. Yep.
It is DIP. Okay. So
DIP.
yeah, if you want to get your hands on a burn box, make sure that you go to market.textrp.io. That's market.texrp.io, and be sure to use the referral code DIP. And if you want to sign up as an affiliate, you can do that as well. We have an affiliate program that pays down to 2 levels. So it's not just direct sales, but also indirect sales. You can make indirect commissions. You can also purchase our Launchpack NFTs right there from market.texrp.io. And these NFTs, unlike other marketplaces, are also part of the affiliate program. So you can get commissions for the purchase and sale of NFTs as well as the mystery boxes. But stay tuned to this site, because after we roll out the mystery boxes, we do have some extra items that we have, and we'll post them here and sell them individually. And again, we'll do that through our TXT token solely. So it's just an added utility that we have to our token, where you can use it not just for the purchase of those items, but the burn boxes.
I love it. I love it. I wasn't sure if it was sharing for whatever reason. I had
It was. It looked good.
I had like technical weirdness going on where I could only see like the bottom half of my screen, and
I'm
I'm
gonna have to
going,
tell my boss that one.
oh, yeah, I don't know. Well, it's me. It's me. It's something in StreamYard that happened when I shared my screen, and I was like, oh gosh, just remain calm, Melissa. Everything will be fine. We got Will frozen. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like seeing that
I'm
there.
telling you, he's going like full Breaking Bad in that RV. I don't know what.
It totally is. That's hilarious. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so guys, if you were interested in getting one of these burn boxes, definitely use the dip code, in give us a little love for the Dipito show. Um, so right now, obviously, they can't. This website and stuff is being, it's being revamped and all of that.
Yes.
Uh, what do you think the timeline is for people to really start dipping their toe into this? You mentioned
Yeah.
us beta testers, which I'd
Well,
love to do.
yeah. So it's I'm building a mobile app is the answer. So
I
um,
love that.
I need it's hard to make any promises on a timeline because when it comes to mobile apps, these places like the Apple Play Store or the iOS developer ecosystem, you have to jump through so many hoops to make them happy, and it is just it's a nightmare, I think. But I think we're going to be okay. It's just a matter of having to submit more than one time, right? So once we get to that point, we'll be ready to like announce it. And but before we go through all those hurdles, I'll be able to put it out on a like a beta so that I can invite people to actually start testing it out. And I hope that'll be like in the next couple of months or weeks. Depends on how fast I can move, because it's like I have this, and then I also have my full-time job, and then I also have the other project that Xurge Digital Labs is taking on that is about to start. And so I'm going to have like three things pulling at me from all kinds of different directions. So it's been really hard for me to accept help up till this point, I'll say, not because I don't want help, but because having more than one chef in the kitchen, dealing with high security stuff, and I've had to basically I've built this and tore it down multiple times in the last year. Okay, so
Wow.
yeah, it's because I'll get somewhere
Sorry,
and I'm
Mike.
like, oh no, you're good. I'll get to a point and I'll be like, man, probably should have done it this way, and I'll undo everything I did. It may be a perfectionist in me. I'd never really thought of myself as a perfectionist, but I just don't want to sacrifice any level of privacy and security in our application at any level. And so at times, you have to basically look at your design decisions and say, oh man, there's this compromise I didn't know I was going to have to make here, and then you have to go back to the drawing board. So that's happened once or twice, but now I'm good, and we're almost there, and I'm feeling relief every day as I'm getting more done. So that's been nice. And now that I've been mainly working on design work, if somebody out there is a mobile app designer, I could use your help because I'm not creative at all when it so I'm basically just, I'm learning as I'm going and hoping that what I design is actually a good interface, but the users will give me feedback and we'll go from there, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that being said, not just on the technical side of things, but we are a startup, right? And we are bootstrapping basically as we go. And we've been blessed enough to have plenty of support from the community. And in the last 5 years, there have been people that will sort of attach themselves to our team, help out in one way or another, kind of move on to something else. And we really appreciate those that have come in, helped us out over the past 5 years. what Mike is talking about with getting some growth in the team with respect to the technical side of things, that's definitely true. But it also is the same case for other aspects of our operation, right? So as Mike says, he has his job. I have my job. I recently actually got promoted to more to do with AI and workflows within the defense contracting. And so there's definitely room for people who want to help us with the marketing, putting out the message out there, being a daily presence to the community. We're talking to a few people here and there, but if anyone's interested in joining Team TextRP, or what will be known in some future, I know we really haven't said it, but Team Bridge, please reach out to us, and I'm sure we got some work for you.
Let's go. We got about 8 minutes left. Any final thoughts? Ways people can get a hold of you, find you, all those good things?
Well, yeah, we are at on X. We are TextRP SMS. That's our Twitter handle. My personal Twitter handle is or X handle is PTS_E. But you can also reach us at info@textrp.io. And Mike has his Twitter handle as well, which he's also very accessible as well. Mike, you want to give your...
Yeah. I believe it's at Lurky Dev. I don't think there's any underscores in there. But yeah, I'm pretty much wide open. If I check my message requests and everything, even though there's a bunch of like random, Indian dudes pretending to be girls in there, but I do check my message requests just in case the paywall of X is preventing somebody from reaching me. But I do try to respond to everybody that reaches out. Sometimes to my detriment, I get caught up trying to help too many people sometimes, but I just like to help if I can. And even if it's just some advice or wisdom I can pour into you, that's fine too.
Yeah, you both have been extremely helpful to so many people, myself included. It's so appreciated. But there always does come a time where you have to go like, can't do anymore. I can't help anymore. That's why I always try to tell people right now is the time you have access to folks like yourself. That's not always going to be the case. It's not. It just won't be. I'm going to post your handles in the chat so people can find you. Mind you guys, these are handles on X if you do want to. Email for me is always really good because then it's there. I again, with the messages, right? They're coming in from all over places and you don't know who this person is. And then, of course, you got people that we don't know who they are, if they really are who they're supposed to be. All of the impersonators out there. I guess in this last couple of minutes, being that you are so big on security and that, any good practices, tips, thoughts, or tips that you can offer the Dipito Show audience?
I think we got one, right, Mike? We both got hit with a similar scam recently.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about my recent job interview I had. So recently I was on LinkedIn. Well, I don't go on LinkedIn often, but I had a message from a recruiter, and I'm just working for a startup, so I'm always open to opportunities. And I don't mean this startup, I mean, but working for. Anyways, so this person reached out to me, and the job was for something called Ritual, which is like, I think it's a real company that does blockchain for agents, so that they have like an audit trail that is like deterministic. And I was like, that sounds really cool. I feel like we even drew that on a napkin in Vegas. But so I was like, I got to interview with these people, and of course it was too good to be true. But the guy came on camera, had an audio issue apparently, and then turned his camera off, and then all of a sudden his audio worked, and he had a really thick, like some kind of European accent. I couldn't tell you where it was from, but basically he told me I could turn my camera off too. And I was like, okay, this is a weird interview. We kept going. He asked me for my background, which was normal. He told me the background of the company, which I could tell he was reading from a script. And then he was like, all right, well, now we're going to get into the technical part of the interview. I need you to go to this GitHub repository, which, if you don't know, GitHub is a place where you store code. And so I was like, you want me to go to a GitHub repository? And we just started talking. Like, you don't know me, I don't know you. We just started talking. So it just so happened that on this day, GitHub was having some issues. And so I was able to kind of delay, install, and I had took the repo and I gave it to Grok and I said, hey, scan this for any vulnerabilities. Some guy is trying to tell me to, pull it down and run it. I didn't have time to scan it myself. And it came back and told me that it had a lot of these vulnerabilities that had been announced recently, and these like supply chain attacks with something called NPM, which is a package manager. So basically all I would have had to do is pull the code down to my computer and run one command, and I would have been compromised. And the whole time the guy was like, hey, share your screen, let's go through this project. Share your screen, let's go through this project. And I'm like, no, one second, man, I'm gonna check this out because you're being a little pushy. And then I just hung up on him, because I was like, I don't. But yeah, it's funny that happened to me, and then it's happened to Will. It happened to another guy we know named Mike Marquez, who used to be with TextRP as well. So I almost feel like we're being targeted here, Will. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
it's possible.
but yeah, it's something to look out for. They're getting sophisticated with these tactics. I could have caught it earlier had I checked closer at the email address. So what they did is on LinkedIn, they had me go to Calendly, which is like this scheduling app. You can see their entire schedule, pick a time or whatever.
Yep.
But then the confirmation email from that came to me, and then it's supposed to go to their email. Well, what I didn't catch is I actually got a postmaster email that said their confirmation email could not be delivered because the email did not exist, because they used some email that looked close to being real, but it wasn't. It was like ritualai .net instead of just ritual.net, right? And so I didn't catch that little difference in the domain name of the email address. And had I seen that before, I could have saved myself time, but I've also wasted his time, so I don't really feel that bad.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
it's a great story, and I'm so glad that you shared it with everyone, because these things are getting ramped up. I bet you are being targeted, whether it's for nefarious purposes or somebody interested in TextRP to see how smart you guys are. Really,
No, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I guess the moral of that story is they're genuinely doing research on you with AI. They have AI too, so they can do market research on their targets to figure out what you're after, like what's the value you're trying to get. Like, he knew I needed a job, and he knew what I was interested in, and put it all together into like the perfect job offer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's tailored. It's tailored to you. Myself, the message I got was an offer that it was a company requesting a crypto consultant, and so I felt, okay, I could do a little bit of consulting with these folks. Why not? And it was the same thing, a Calendly link, then followed by a Google Meet call. And it started out exactly the same. The guy came up on the camera for just a brief moment before he switched off and said that he had some issues. The thing that saved me was that I was on my phone having that call. And he asked me what device I was using. I said, I'm on a phone. He's like, can you go to your laptop for that? And that was an instant red flag, because why do you need me? What does the device I'm on matter if we're having this communication, right? So that was an instant red flag for me, and I said, okay, I know what you're up to. Have a nice day. I should have wasted his time a little more.
Man, I tell you, I wish we had more time to talk about this. We have like 1 minute. I do want to say thank you so much for sharing that. Guys, stay vigilant out there. It's very important.
Trust your gut.
Things that we used to share so openly and freely back in the day, putting your whole resume, all your personal information out there. LinkedIn, your company made you sign up for it, all your personal information, and you're like, this has got my name, my this, that, everything. Now we're entering a whole new era. People are getting into crypto and stuff. You might not want your name attached to this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So think about those offers that are coming in. If you're not applying for it, you might not want to necessarily be answering these. But kudos to you guys for being smart. We appreciate you. Hope to have you back, and definitely would love to be a beta tester when you guys are ready.
Of course.
Have a good rest
Thank
of the
you
day,
for your
everyone.
time, Alyssa.
Yes.
I
Thank you,
love you
Melissa.
guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, girl.